Hi guys, so I'm out here on my deck and what I have behind me is a solar powered dryer that I am making. I drew out the plans based on two different types of dryers that I saw online. One was the solar powered hydrator and the other one is just a regular hydrator. So I wanted to make a cross between both. So the design that I came up with was a more simple hydrator that is using more of the solar powered technology. So if you notice that right here in the front, you have the holes on the bottom with the slant. I'm using a polycarbonate glass, okay? Now this is a clear glass, but I do have the film over it at this point in time. I haven't taken it off yet because I actually want to finish my dryer first. And we used a 1/2 inch plywood to create it, and we actually had these legs. We actually got a new bed frame, and the old frame had these legs on it. I'm like, why don't we just use those legs? We don't have to build a leg. So we actually used that to build the legs on it. The cool air comes into the bottom, and then we have holes in the back that goes up to the back, and I'll show you all that. So I have my sun-dried tomatoes going. This is my first batch with the solar dryer that we made ourselves. I actually designed it, came up with this, the way I'm gonna make it, you know, on paper first, and then we put it together. And I had a lot of help with the power saw and then piecing it all together. It's really fun to see something that started out as a drawing I did on paper to life. I basically did a combo of a sun dryer, which is just a regular sun dryer, and a solar powered dryer, and then I really liked the look. I really liked the idea of using, a lot of people are making solar stoves, and what they're doing is they're painting the inside of the stoves with a high heat paint. So I felt like that would be more safe around the food because it was made, you know, they're using it for barbecue grills. So the black paint on the inside of the dryer is actually the same kind of paint that they used for barbecue grills. And then we went ahead and paint the outside of it with an all-weather regular paint, okay? The inside, the racks are all aluminum, and I actually used the screens that you would put on windows, but I made sure that they were aluminum, because so it'd be more safe, you know, around our food. And we went ahead and made, you know, like these racks that are the same that you would put on your windows or window screen. I went ahead and put a thermometer in there, and right now you can see that it's about 155 degrees inside here. Temperature might be a couple of degrees higher up here as it rises, but that is the correct temperature that I need for sun-dried tomatoes. So we did well on making sure that, you know, we're maintaining, you know, what temperatures we want. Of course, the bottom racks are always going to be cold, like a couple of degrees cooler. So if I want to put other things like peppers or whatever, I might even want to put one more rack down here in the bottom, which would be perfect for a lower temperature. And then as we get up, we can go a little bit higher temperature. Actually, if we ever wanted to make jerky or anything like that, the top rack might be pretty good for that temperature there. What I used is a 1/2 inch plywood, and then we used, we drilled holes in the back. And so the concept of the dryer is that cool air comes through the bottom, and as the sun comes through, it heats up because of the black paint on the inside. And as the temperature goes, or the air comes up, it rises and it gets warmer. And so as you can see, that's working well. And then the air comes out, the hot air comes out through these holes in the back that we drilled. They are covered with wire, so that nothing can get in, or, you know, bugs can't fly in or anything like that. We went ahead and put a lock on it, so, you know, animals might not try to open it, you know. So I used a polycarbonate glass for the front, and that you can get at Home Depot. Most of all the supplies we got at Home Depot. The only thing that we didn't get was the legs, and some of the wood that's down here was from an old bed frame. So we have like all this scrap wood laying around, and we use this to secure. So we actually took the legs off the bed frame and the scrap wood to make it a little bit more secure. And you can see that I've got tons of tomatoes, and this is such a great way. You got see all my tomatoes in here coming out. This is such a great way. These are all the green ones, and I also have some right here. You can see some white tomatoes. Now these are super sweet, and they're ripe when they're this color white, or like a yellowish bright color. Very, very sweet. One of my favorite tomatoes to grow. And also, if you look down there, got a whole garden going down there with lots and lots and lots of stuff that's just filled. Butternut squash, acorn squash, peppers, and more tomatoes. So this is just a great way. You can see I got some, these are the Italian eggplants up here, and then I got some Millionaire hybrid variety of eggplants out going here. Oh, I got tons and tons of stuff going. And so this is just a great way to preserve my overabundance tomatoes. And I love putting sun-dried tomatoes, chopping them up and putting them on my pizza. And I have a recipe for my flat, thin crust pizza on my channel that you can see. There's a conversion for it, but I'm actually doing it from fresh home milled flour, fresh organic. So I make my own flour for my pizzas and my pastas and my breads and everything, which I find way more tasty. But I do a conversion for it, so if you don't have a grain mill and you just want to make the same recipe, you can check that out. So thank you for watching, and more details on this and how I did it. For the two sides, I used 2 sanded plywood that 1.5 inch by 2 feet by 4 feet. Basically, I just drew up this pattern and I cut it out to desired length. If you want a bigger dryer, use bigger plywood and cut the same type of pattern. When cutting the front pieces, consider the slant cut for the polycarbonate window. The top and the front were actually cut from the extra plywood I had left over after I created the pattern. The bottom and the back pieces I used plywood 18-inch wide by 2 feet long, sanded 1/2 inch thick. If you want a larger piece, again, you would just get larger plywood, kind of go with the same shapes, and you might have to make slight adjustments for what you want to create, like a larger dryer. I'm using a high heat Rust-Oleum barbecue black paint. Now this is used on barbecue grills. This is going to attract that heat so that it warms it up to a temperature where it actually is working as a dryer. You're just going to lay out all your pieces and spray all on one side. This is going to be the entire inside of your dryer. Aluminum screen fabric, enough to make the framing material and the amount of racks that you'll want to be putting into your dryer. You'll also need a spline roller, aluminum screen roll, utility blades, framing, and of course the end pieces for the frames as well. Just measure exactly where you want these frames at and then cut each frame to be exactly the size you want. You'll need hole saws to cut out vents and extra screen fabric to cover the vents for the front on the bottom as well as the back on the top, the door on the back. Polycarbonate or glass. Polycarbonate is practically indestructible, so I chose that. Hinges, a handle, and a latch for securing your door closed. Just get creative with it. I drew out this plan on paper and it just seemed to come out great. As you can see, I have some gorgeous sun-dried tomatoes there. And it came out beautiful. I painted it on the outside. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you so much for watching.